everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Bar with Kaitlynn Diaz here with Ed Reyes. Thank you so much for joining me, Ed. Tell me a little bit about yourself. You're an attorney here in Tampa. Would love to hear. You were going to tell me a little bit now, but would love to hear it moving forward.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So my name's Edward Reyes. I am the attorney at the Reyes firm, which is actually the real name is Edward J. Reyes, PA, but it's too long. Reyes firm is catchy, punchy, so we go with that. I got the DBA for that. And so yeah, no, I've had this now for a couple of years. We've grown substantially since I've opened it. I went to Cooley Law School, and I opened up my firm right after passing the bar. But my previous experience, I owned a doctor's office for 13 years, and I owned a gym for a couple of years, and I owned a real estate company for a couple of years. So I like business, so I literally just jumped in, and no complaints.
This is awesome. So you are very unorthodox, and why I really wanted to get you on the bar is because of how incredible this is. Most of the time, people such as myself, they go to law school, they go right out of undergrad, and they have zero experience with running a business or having a business. You ran a doctor's office, you ran multiple businesses before having a law firm and having your own business. And so what can you say going into law school set you aside by running those businesses that you saw so much that set you aside from your other colleagues and other law students?
Well, so I started school, period, at 31. I have a wife and two kids. And at 31, because I did have the doctor's office, and I had that, like I said, for 13 years. And I used to own a gym around the same time. And the laws were changing, and they wanted the laws to be that they wanted the doctors to be on the corporation. And I didn't want to do that because I've had some doctors, they might be doctors, but they're crappy business partners if you ever decide to work with any doctor, a lot of times. and then at that point, I decided to, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to do something. And me and my wife, we literally just had the conversation and said, it was on the way home. I was on the way home from the clinic. And we literally said, I wonder what I would do if I had to close the clinic, because the clinic was making me a lot of money at the time. We had an MD, we had a chiro, a massage therapist, acupuncturist. It was 4,300 square foot medical office, and also personal injury, saw tons of clients there as well. And my wife was like, just in conversation, maybe you should go to law school. I said, why not? And the downside to that, I didn't have my associate's degree, I didn't have my bachelor's degree, I didn't have my law degree, I didn't have nothing. I just learned business through having a business, and the bumps and bruises through that. In fact, actually, I did go to school when I was younger. I was like 21 years old. But I was ignorant at the time because I was making like 35 to 45,000 a month around that time when I was like 21, 22 years old. And I said, why go to school if I make more money than doctors and attorneys make, which is true. But that's where my age and my undeveloped mind, So because I had a good spread. I had a good spread for a long time. And so that's how I actually started, in regular conversation, just go to law school, which was really weird because I was already, late 20s or whatever. I went 7 years straight, and I was so overdressed, like going to undergrad, like HCC, Hillsborough Community College, and then I was like dressed in suits every day, and I was like the odd person standing out. And USF the same. And ironically, by the time I got to law school, I was finally dressed down, which is funny because law school people dress up. It's like ass backwards, I swear to God. But when I was at USF, I opened up a marketing company, and I sold ads to doctors and attorneys that I've done business with, and that paid for a lot of the stuff during USF time. And then when I got into law school, I reactivated my real estate broker's license because I have all these licenses, and I did real estate full time while I was in law school. So my mindset is a little bit different because I've always had a lot of bills, a lot of responsibilities. I've had two kids. I had my first child whenever my wife had the baby at 15 when she was 15. And so I had to grow up really quick. So my mindset's a tad bit different than most people, I guess. Not because of anything. I just had to grow up faster. That's it.
Absolutely. No, so you
So
said you were 19 when you had your kid? I sorry, I didn't.
yeah,
And your
yeah.
wife was,
So I was
my dad was 19. My mom was 21. I think they breed some kind of different people. When you have young parents or you are a young parent, it's just that certain type of drive or motivation. And I think that that's kind of what sets you aside and maybe set you aside, especially in law school, was seeing that for sure.
actually I wasn't. I was actually 17 when my daughter was born. My first daughter, 17. My let me see. My wife is 17 when she was pregnant. 18 when she had the baby, because my wife had the baby when
Lawyers
she
aren't
was
that good at
15.
math anyways. Lawyers aren't that good at math anyway. We're
Yeah.
not that
No, but I was under 18 because my wife is 3 years younger than me, and she had the baby at 15.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so that's how that happened.
And she just said, go be a lawyer. That's so
Yeah,
awesome. That's so
yeah.
awesome. So,
I
and you
mean, of
didn't
course, that was
have
years
your,
down the line. Hmm?
yeah, you didn't even have your associates then. You just went straight in to law school. Like after, like that's like where you wanted to go, like right there.
Yeah, like at 31, I'm 40, I'm 41 right now. So at 31, I didn't have anything yet. I just had business degree, well, not business degree. I had a business, the school of business, hard knock business. And so that's when I got my associates, my bachelor's, and my law degree. And I still work full time. I still own the doctor's office. I own the gym, but when in 2008, I had to make some changes there, and I've done a lot of different things in my life. You know, growing up, I've always done stuff to generate income, and starting a business, a whole bunch of other things, and it was definitely a, a different experience going
Yeah,
back to school also.
for sure.
So
So knowing business before you went into law school, do you think that it prepared you knowing that you kind of already knew business going in? Like, do you think that they kind of taught you a lot of how to run a business?
um I I feel like I feel very comfortable in difficult situations. A lot of people, they feel overwhelmed, especially in law school with the papers and this and that. A lot of people don't work, and not saying you have to work or not. But I've been in some really bad situations, especially growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in. So there's a lot of things that don't make me nervous. People, when people are nervous and they're like, I don't know. Listen, I've been in situations. I've had guns to my head and a whole bunch of other things when I was growing up, and I've been in some very peculiar situations. So to me, stress doesn't. It's nothing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all stress out at times, but I don't have that same type of, I guess, fear when it comes to that. Like, what is a guy in a suit going to do to me? like what is this teacher going to do? Like, oh, he's going to raise his voice. Wow. Okay. I'm going to go home and cry. Like, that isn't, you got to respect the people regardless. I mean, not saying, you treat everybody with respect, treat everybody nice, but I don't, I literally, the way I thought about it and how I thought about school is, all I want to do is finish this semester. When I'm done with this semester, I just want to think about the next semester. I don't want to think 7 years down the line, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, that's a long time. I literally only want to think, let me just finish this semester. Let me see where I'm at and finish the next one. And I chunk them like you're running. Like if you're running, I run to a tree. I'm like, all right, now I see the next tree. Let me run to the next tree. And that's how I thought about it going forward. And everybody would ask me, well, that's a long time. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just going to like March, going to April.
You paced yourself. You paced yourself. You set your goals, you paced yourself that way, and you got there. So, what made you want to open up your own firm here in Tampa?
Um, I can't work for people well. Like, I work with people very well, but I can't work for people well. There's a difference. I've been self-employed for 21 years now. I used to work at a bank a long time ago, and I used to work when I was in right when I finished high school for a little bit of like maybe a year, 2 years, or whatever the case was. In corporate America, I realized does not work well for me. I was actually, when I worked at the bank, I was getting promoted a lot. I was getting these awards. I was getting money they used to be called pies. They get these bonuses for cross selling. and they used to make me go to different branches and train other people of how to be more efficient, how to be, what I was doing. The problem is that I didn't get the corporate America idea yet. They would take me somewhere for me to train, to be trained to be a manager, for example. And I was moving up quickly, but what happens is when somebody tells me no, I that doesn't stop me. So I would go to a place, and they'll, like, this lady was supposed to train me and she wasn't. So then I would go to her boss, and then it wasn't happening. I would go to their boss, and I would go to their boss, and I would go to their boss. And I kept going over all the different tiers, that I started talking to the CEO of the bank on a regular basis. I'm like, hey, Dale, what's going on, man? So are not helping me. And the reason why I'm here is to be there, is to be a manager. So clearly the trickle down effect gets a lot of people pissed off. I didn't understand that idea. What I knew was I'm there for a reason, and I wanted to grow at a certain speed, and you're stopping me, and that doesn't work for me. So that's why I can't work for anybody else. I have tons of people that I work with in teams. I sit on non-for-profit boards. I've done a lot of other things, and I work great with people. I just don't work great when people tell me you can only do this, because that's it. That is for me.
So what do you think sets you aside, other than obviously your unorthodox background and so forth? What sets you aside, and what would you say sets you aside and your firm aside, now that you have the platform and you're on here and talking to Tampa, everyone else listening in, thousands of people do listen in, and to our podcast, to the Facebook Live. What sets you aside?
I think honestly is, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You just got to know other people. If you're the smartest person in the room, there's a problem. You should always play, and this is just, and I did this in law school as well. Never pretend you're too smart. I always play the dumb card. Let me tell you that first. Like, I on purpose want to play. Let's say I may be the smartest person in that room. I'll never be the smartest person in that room on purpose. And people give you information. They talk to you in law school. A lot of my friends are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you passed." I'm like, "Yeah, passed is, whatever." Because what happens is that when you're on this pedestal, everybody wants you to fall off the pedestal. It's almost like the underdog idea, right? Like, you want people to really help you out, and you want to be genuine with people, and you want to help other people out as well. So what you want to do is, you want to be nice to everybody. Be nice to everybody. Be respectful. Never talk above them. The way I see it is, I'm a person like anybody else. Like, I just have a different skill set than other people. What I find that's easy may be very difficult for somebody else, but I'll never talk above that person. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. I do not like when people try to talk down to me or ignore me. I don't do the same to other people. And the reason why, because, I learn something from somebody every single day. And if people think I'm not approachable, if people think I'm like too big, that I feel that I'm too important, they're not going to want to approach me. They're not going to want to give me their business. They're going to want this guy's a pain in the ass. So as an attorney, you got to really get your head out of your own ass. Like, seriously, like, seriously, like, a lot of attorneys, they get so like caught up on, I'm an attorney, shake my hand.
Reyes hitting it with the facts. I love it. Reyes.
It's true though. So what happens that I'm the way I am always. I've hung out with people that have no money, and I've hung out with people that have a lot of money. Now I have quite a bit of money. You know what I'm saying? So like, it doesn't change my personality with other people. Of course, I'm not, I'm not going to disrespect anybody. I'm not going to, like, I treat everybody the same. And that's super important, because I know so many people that they get out of law school or they're in law school, and they think they're so important that because they have this new knowledge, they talk down to people. They're like, "Oh, you don't understand." And listen, in my mind, I might be saying, "God, that person is not smart," but I'll never, ever, ever treat somebody inferior for any reason, because they have a different skill set. They have different experiences that I have, that I can learn from them. So that's one thing that I think is really important, is always be on people's level, and you'll see how people want to help you, because they see that you're helping them as well. In addition to that, consistency. Above all, I may not be the smartest person, but sure as hell I'm consistent. I will continue to be persistent. I will continue to knock on your door, knock on your door, knock on your door. If you tell me the door's locked, I'll find a window. You know what I'm saying? That if the window's locked, I'm gonna look somewhere else. I'm gonna go to your neighbor's house. Like that's
Yeah.
my personality. Is
Find a way.
yeah. So no is no. No is not no. No is you don't know enough information to give me the answer I want. So that's the way I think about it. Like it's persistence. As long as you're like persistent and you treat people like with respect and you never think you're above anybody else, and you really do treat people with respect, you have no idea how far that goes. I mean, there's so many people, like even tutors, for example, when I was in law school, in life for that matter, I literally would make them feel so important on a regular basis where people would take advantage of them. And even going through law school, or even going through USF, you have no idea how many bagels I brought to these people. You have no idea how much like I even have massage therapists come and hook them up on free massages and stuff like that. Like I would do whatever it takes for to make the person that's helping me value that. Like, you know what?
Absolutely.
Every time this dude comes, he brings like some bagels, or brings me this, or brings me that, or he calls one of his doctor friends and they hook me up with chiropractic and massages, whatever the case is. If you're helping me, I'm going to make sure I help you in some way, because when I need you, you're going to pick up the phone because I've helped you.
Absolutely. No, and I think a lot of it, I would say just being raised by a Hispanic father is a lot with the Hispanic culture, because I remember my father coming and visiting me in college, and it wasn't my professor saying I was a straight A student that impressed him, or anything like that impressed him. It was the cafeteria lunch lady that said, I love your daughter, and that she smiles at me every day and says hello to me, and she's so kind, and she's always saying hi. And he said, I did a good job. And then that's when I realized, you didn't even care about my professor or this or that, all this hard work I do. You only care that I said hi to the, Rosita at the, the lunch lady. And he was like, yeah, because you should treat everyone like the CEO. And I think a lot of it is just the Hispanic culture of kind of bringing that and doing that and so forth. And when I talk to your firm, I get that a lot with the ladies there, and they're so kind, and a lot of it is teamwork. They love you. They love working for you. So I definitely wanted to say that. They love working.
That's your father's a wise man. I mean, it's true. I mean, if you treat even the person that you in your mind you think is less in your, they're not. They just have a different skill set. They're doing work that I don't want to do. Like seriously, like they're doing stuff that it has to happen. I just don't want to do it. Doesn't mean that I'm better than them by any means. I mean, just for example, like the same concept, the lunch lady. That lunch lady can send me a wrongful death case. That lady can send me a paraplegic lady. That lady can send me whomever, and I get to my biggest clients from people you would never think ever would send me. Like you just have to treat people with respect, and not for business only. Just have a better quality of life. But you're right. I'm Hispanic as well. I grew up in the Cuban culture. We still do the pig roast. We still do the the Noche Buena. We dance. Whatever. So, I mean, we still do all that, and it's still a great time.
Were you born here or first generation?
Yeah, I was born in New Jersey, but I've been here most of my life. My family, both, my wife too, actually, she was born in the United States, but my mom and my dad were born in Cuba. And yeah, so that's how we grew up. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, listen, my mom growing up, like I wanted to go out places, and she's like, yeah, you're going to replace the sod, or you're going to lay cement. And if
do something to have fun, you got to
my God,
to have fun.
And my friends too, they're like, oh, you go outside. We're going to have la fiesta de cemento. We're going to have fiesta. I'm like, Mom, but I want to go out. I'm like, I want to go hang out. She's like, yeah, you can do that when you're done with all this. Yes. And it's a different mindset. Like a lot of people, their parents are scared to tell their kids. It's a different mindset. It instills hard work, and I think that goes far. I'm not saying people that are not Hispanic or ethnic don't have the
No,
hard
we're
work.
not that. We're just talking about culture, and that's kind of like just
Yeah,
how it is. It's just like
it
that's
is.
kind of what they give off. It's just they're more caring in that sense of when they're talking to people and so forth, and just those principles of my dad when we were younger of
Yeah,
treat everyone like the CEO because you never know. You never know who you
you
need,
don't.
or you just don't know. You really have no idea who you're going to need in
Yeah.
a company. But now it calls for the last call, the fun part of the end of
Okay.
the evening or the rest of the show. So it's
Sure.
Beyond the Bar, and this is the last call, like at the bar. And I'm going to
Okay.
ask you 2 questions.
Hmm.
Before I do you listen to rock and roll before I ask this one? Or are you like familiar with some rock and roll? Or should I ask you like, who would you have like as a salsa, reggaeton? What would you, like
So
artist would you be? What artist would you be?
I well, I listen to hip hop a lot, like the old school hip hop, the '90s hip hop, like Wu Tang, Mobb Deep, stuff like that. I grew up on that, and I listen to Spanish music, and I listen to the bachata. Romeo Santos, he's pretty
Oh,
badass.
yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love.
yeah.
I was thinking Daddy Yankee though. I don't know.
Yeah, Daddy Yankee. Uh, it's
Right?
yeah.
Oh my God. I don't know. And for COVID, this is the last set. So for COVID, what are some hobbies you picked up or you and your wife and kid have done? Or what have you done that you've done, like new things that you've implemented into your life with all this free time we kind of have on our hands? Or maybe you don't have as much
Well,
free time.
I can tell you that I don't have so much free time. In fact, the firm for the first few months during COVID, we hit record numbers every month financially, which was great. And then last month it was a little bit slow because the insurance companies are taking advantage of people because they're making bad offers, hoping that people need money for their rent and their for food. So they're unfortunately some people are taking it, some people are not.
So
So
you
we followed a lot of
call
huh?
Momentum, call Kaitlynn at Momentum, and we'll hook it up
Yeah.
for you.
Well, it's getting kind of crazy, right? So one of the things that's been I've started working out a lot more, which is great. I lost 19 pounds since COVID. I've been training once or twice a day. I'm eating better. In fact, actually, I actually got the COVID last week, to be honest with you. And so
God.
I have one more week at my house. So so I kind of went through this process myself.
Oh no.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad. I mean, I think for me, I'm glad I didn't, nothing seriously happened. But I mean, for the first 3 days, it was tough. But because of COVID, we unfortunately, as far as personal life goes, we've had to cancel a lot of, we had vacation scheduled. We had to cancel. We were supposed to go to Colombia, which didn't happen.
Yeah.
Beach. I mean, it literally has changed our world. But on the flip note, my business, I've been able to streamline a lot of things. Communication's gotten better. I systemize a lot of things as well. Um, I've I actually even created a separate business that will be rolling out pretty soon on helping other attorneys how to grow their firms. So that's going to be an online course through Teachable, and I already made like eight classes already, like 8 courses, and we're just putting more content. So my free time is, I guess it's not so much, it's not that exciting. I guess maybe for me it's exciting because I love to see that I did this and this happens because of that.
Well,
So
they
it,
said
right,
Shakespeare, right? He wrote his best play during one of the worst plagues in the
yeah.
world. So
Yeah. We're writing a book. Me and my wife are writing a book about, what to do after law school, stuff like that. So there's a couple of different things that I've been working on. I'm like, if I'm going to be home or if I'm going to be working, from home and from the office, I might as well be more productive.
absolutely.
Because if not, I don't like watching TV. Actually, I watch TV now a little bit, but I'm not a big TV person.
Yeah.
I, um, I prefer being productive personally, which drives a lot of people crazy,
No,
right?
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. That's why last week when we talked and I was kind of like out of commission, I was like, I'm a go, 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 go
Yeah,
kind of person. So we were both out of commission last week, but I thank
yeah,
you so much for being
yeah.
on
You're
here,
welcome.
taking the time. Thank you. Is there anything you want to say to your team before we end this broadcast? I just wanted to say thank you so much to your firm, to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me on Beyond the Bar.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for my team. And I mean, honestly, without a good team, you don't have anything. I mean, without people that you can trust, you don't have anything. I mean, you really do need a good squad of people and supporters and fans to help you through your journey. Because even though I may get the recognition from the firm because I'm the owner of the firm, but honestly, without a strong positive team and support, it's never going to happen. So I'm very happy about that. And I
Uh,
appreciate your time,
yeah,
and thank you so much for inviting me onto your show.